Can you guys all see Firefox?
Yes.
Right, cool. Okay, so we'll begin with just running through the completed tickets since the last demo. Then I'll just start by touching on these two, which are from the previous sprint, but you guys weren't here last week to see us demo them, and they were kind of important. So the first was this creating mappings, having a single field. So for all internal sources, this is now a single field, which is both searchable and you can also, so you can search and then select and then it does that. If you guys have any questions, you can just stop me at any point.
So so go ahead and select the non-CL one, right? Just
so
SNOMED.
Name type, so like SNOMED is an external. Okay, so this is QA, there's no SNOMED. Let me just jump to demo quickly.
Okay. Why would there not be the same data in QA as demo?
So for some reason we have the demo data for external sources has not yet been loaded onto QA.
Yeah, since you guys
remember, this is why we started using the demo server in the first place. QA doesn't have enough realistic stuff on it.
Right, okay. I thought that was okay.
Yeah, it was supposed
that
to
means that I'm hoping that developers are unit testing in demo then and not in QA.
So depending on the feature, if the feature requires as parts of QA like parts which are not on QA, then we use demo for some of them. Okay. But by default we use QA. That makes sense. So for an external one like SNOMED, it would be this.
Good.
Right. But remember, we still have this running problem of we can't create external mappings.
Yeah, just quickly, did we change the order of the code concept to have the optional above the code? I think we've always had code above the name.
Actually, it has always been, so the one with, so okay, so we can just swap this out, but I think that was, the code and name was for the internal which had two fields. But yeah, so let's just swap this back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we always had the code on top and then the name below as being optional.
All right, cool. Let's note that down.
I actually feel like this seems familiar to me, but you're right that that's how we ought to have it. Like I feel like this is how this UI has been working. We just never have included. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It would be as in MVP, swap the order of those fields.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Okay, so let's jump back to. So then this was just the loader while adding concepts with quite a number of mappings. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to test this. So for now, we just added that loader permanently there until the thing is done.
Yeah, so that I just noticed that too. That doesn't actually work because what makes it seem like it's doing is waiting to load or refresh the screen when you can get that for other things as well, I think. But it seems to me that what you're really saying is that it's importing the concepts, and a spinner or something makes more sense. I was confused by that sort of fade out loading thing. I'm not sure what to me that was like refreshing the screen, not actually the back end data.
Okay, so it should just be something more informative. So like a spinner with the words.
I mean, at the very least, you could, if you put words loading or adding concepts, do not navigate away from this page. That would be the simplest thing you could do.
All right. Cool.
right? And like the ideal thing is to actually even have like a progress bar
yeah.
showing, how, and like how many of them there are that like are getting queued up and all. But
Right.
the one other thing is that, and I commented this from my testing, is that after this succeeds, you need to also give some indication that more than one concept was added.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the user doesn't.
Because it does work with the in the bulk load, where if after you, or actually no, it does. I think it was 12, 13. That couldn't have been the bulk load. That must have been the initial load. So it did show that 12 of 13 concepts got loaded. One was already there. So I have seen that message.
Okay.
It just came up quite late and on a completely different screen, of course, because I navigated it away from the page.
And actually, you might have reminded us. I'm not sure that loading functionality is there for. So it's actually there for this screen.
I'd also make one other observation, which was I received a error saying that it was unable to load the set that I added when it actually did, and maybe the error came up because one of the concepts already existed. But I got the red message saying try again, and then a few minutes later when I refreshed my dictionary, they were all there. Plus I got this 12 of 13 message, which I'm actually kind of hard to press to figure out what that actually meant.
So this was while doing a bulk import?
Yes. No, sorry, not bulk import. This was during the yeah.
Creating.
I bulk imported only 3. Oh no. Okay. Hang on a second. No, because I only did 101, 100, 100, 101, and none of those are sets. So it was the message that 12 of 13 came up when I loaded this services ordered. Is that the one?
Right. So a particular thing to try out would be what happens if you add one of the answers first, then you go and add a question that has that answer.
Right.
It ought to be fine with it. It shouldn't, it shouldn't give you a red message. In that case, it should be green.
Right. It just says one had already been added previously.
Yeah. All right. We'll check that, but I think that should be okay. Just a follow up with Darius. The displaying the concept count for like the additional concepts that have been added. We had marked that as MVP plus, right?
I guess probably whatever I said in my talk post, but probably that can be MVP plus. It would be nice if it's possible to at least say and others. Like if it was more than one, just give, even if you don't give the exact number. I guess probably the way you do it, the exact number is just as easy, but sure, right. It can be MVP plus.
Yes. Okay, cool. Just a second, let me just note that down. Check for. Okay, so let's proceed. So those were that's who carried over, and then for these, the local preferred field for names displays an incorrect value. We had not noticed this before, but when you switch this from yes to no, it would save them correctly, but then it would not. Like the next time you came to check, it would display like the opposite value. Yeah, that's just a small issue with the way we're doing the check. That's okay now. And then the next is names and descriptions should have external IDs. We missed these ones. We only put for the concept and mappings. So we added these ones as well, auto-generated for now. Then filtering and searching at the same time is not working. We also missed this. if you are searching for something, say that, and then try to filter at the same time, it would like switch one of them off and then only run the other one. But that was for only this page. So that was also done. Then when creating a mapping, user should be able to search for more than 10 concepts. That was on this page. We missed something small. When you'd say search for HIV here, it would bring a maximum of 10. In the future, this is a concern because we can't load like an indefinite number of concepts. But so for now, that is the current, like it just loads all matches. Then adding the add SQL set page application that returns a single value. So sometimes when you search, yeah, so you had one match only. That when you navigate away and then navigate back, that one would still be displayed. Then user cannot delete all characters in the search bar. That was the one that's the one you pointed out as well. I think that has also been addressed. This last letter would refuse to get off.
Yeah, you see how you get the loading there? That same loading is confusing because there is clearly a refresh. You haven't done any action on adding. That's why we need the spinner or something.
Right. Then when creating a mapping, the two concepts should be added. I think this was carried over from last week as well. Then, well, I believe you guys have seen that while doing testing, but we can just demo it just once. Yeah. Press enter twice. You probably have a loader. So that's will be added as well. The thing of adding, listen the refresh. So that has not been added for some reason.
So exposure to HIV.
Sorry, I had filtered by this.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, exposure to HIV is a diagnosis.
Oh, it's a finding.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, I think, let me see. Yeah, and then the cascade mapping, just adding, when we're creating the concept, we're not adding the mapping reference as well to the collection. So that as well was addressed. That's why if you wanted to see this, you'd have to go to the old OCL. So previously, these were not being added for when you create a custom concept. Okay, so that is basically what we've been working on so far for this sprint. Unless there are any questions, the next thing would be to run through the feedback we've gotten so far from user testing. So do we have any questions or observations? Okay, cool. So I guess let's proceed. So the first one is this: paging through a list of concepts is cumbersome and made worse when the paging links change position. So I guess he was referring to this when adding seal concepts. So I go into the next, going to the next page. Some of them have like varying name lengths, so this will keep shifting up and down. So he suggested adding keyboard like arrow key support. I wonder though if that's the only thing we can do to remedy this. But apart from looking into
why would that? There's some word wrapping that's going on in the name category. or name column, and that's what moves the.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, because I think a more traditional view. I don't know how this works like in the new micro front end kind of stuff, but it seems to me that it's like a frame, right, with the header and the footer, and the footer should be in the same place all the time, but that might produce another scroll bar in between.
I think
that would also solve the problem of it moving around, because it really should just always be in the same position on the screen.
I agree. So would that be okay if just brought in an additional scroll bar? I don't think it would be that long ever, since you can't have that long overlay. So I think that would be fine, right? Like fixing.
It's a post MVP thing, but I think one of in a design question, maybe this is something that will come out more in general from the design team. But Darius, I don't know what your feeling is about it, but if there's a frame there that has a header and a footer, then the internal stuff may change based on the length of the terms or word wrapping and stuff. But
sorry, I wasn't watching the screen for the last 5 minutes. You're saying it's like where that paging is, the two.
Yeah, it moves up and down depending on whether there's long names there.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, isn't in the bigger picture. I mean, I remember there was some long conversation around the paging of this in the first place, but yes, I agree that making this thing fixed size, definitely, I would say do not just start adding keyboard navigation support without discussing it. I know that Burke tends to be a super power user of anything he uses and wants to know all the shortcuts and everything, but maybe people would use keyboard navigation here. Anyway, so yeah, I agree that we can look at we should try to find another way.
The question though is if you're paging and it's jumping around, right? If the arrow buttons are arrow target is jumping around, that's a real pain. So having a frame makes sense, and then
having it fixed in some way. Having that.
Well, the other thing is,
yes,
I would. That's fine. Okay. I wonder if actually this versus infinite scroll is what we would really want, but we can talk about that later.
So should we make this okay, so the priority would be fixing them, but the better thing would be infinite scroll, right?
So Darius, I mean, I guess the question is, if a right arrow and a left arrow page through it, it sort of obviates the need for fixing the frame, which is a bigger deal, I think, in terms of frame. So you could put the arrow support in for MVP. Everything else would be post MVP.
I mean, I think that I actually don't even think that that's MVP, given the sorts of stuff we've been cutting for MVP. But I don't know. I mean, you haven't complained about this, Andy, in all of your testing.
It's because I search for something directly, and I think that's the difference, is that people shouldn't be having to page through large numbers of concepts anyway. So
right, but anyone, I mean, yeah, I agree that people shouldn't be having any. I think it seems it's not that high a priority to deal with users who are going to page through a lot of concepts, but also page through them so quickly that they aren't going to spend a while.
Yeah, so post MVP
on each screen, and then if they have to move the mouse a little, okay, it's fine.
One quick easy change that might help would just be to increase the number of concepts shown on each page. Only 10 is pretty limiting. You could expand that to 20 or 50 or whatever, and it would just reduce the need for paging. So.
That should actually be an option. this should actually be there. I don't know why it's not. That's actually something good. Yeah, it's something. Thank you for pointing that out. I guess you could just.
Although letting them choose is less important than having a like 20 as the default instead
Okay,
of 10.
so 20 as default. All right. Okay, so if you jump.
Assuming that 20 fits on a typical screen resolution, but yeah.
I'm not sure 20 fits on a typical screen. 15 would. But I think 20 is a sensible default.
Okay.
Okay, now. Okay, then next was the table sorting. So yes, so he had a point here. Table sorting sorts only the current page. Now, I thought that we should discuss this because that might play into a bigger discussion of whether or not we should include a separate sorting tab. So now, for example, if we sort by name here, then we go to the next page, this will still not be sorted by name. Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Right, the sort.
Also, it's not sorted globally. So
yeah.
in MVP, you should just turn off the sorting completely because it either has to sort everything or it's misleading.
Right.
So for MVP, turn off the sorting.
Okay.
And I agree. Well, I don't know how valuable sorting is by a lot of these fields.
Yeah, go on.
No, so, I mean, what is the usual sorting? Like, I mean, Andy, what would you expect? Well, the thing is, we expect the sorting to be the natural sorting returned by the matching algorithm
Yeah.
from the back end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that is the default.
So, like, the thing we should spend the most time on, I mean, but it's the back end team that needs to do it, but is to improve that search algorithm so that the results already come back in the right order.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, because it's actually fairly complicated. If you're running that as a query rather than as a displaying of a result set, then clicking on the column has to add a sort by into the SQL.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more complicated.
And even, but like as a user, Andy, do you ever want to sort this by any of those column headers?
I do. I frequently do, but it's based on a more specific sort. So I don't know if it's ever multiple pages. Yeah, I mean, I think taking out sorting entirely could be a problem because, you know, switching between name and ID is a fairly common.
Rowdy. Yep.
Andrew, you were saying something.
Although, what is this? Did you just sort this by name or not?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering why hematuria was at the bottom. Okay, fine.
But so yeah, so if you click again to sort it like in descending order. So sorting goes or remains for now?
I would keep it, but I do think we need to fix it so that the paging is paging through the sort. Eventually, so the fact that people are going to get weird behavior for multiple pages, that's going to get less as if we increase the default number of results. I mean, that's their would be just to take a large number on the page and sort that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would say So I mean, we need to do something for the for MVP, and that could either be just disable sorting completely if that's fastest, or just make sure that the query to the back end, like the sort is applied to the back end query, not the not just what you have fetched to display. So if that's as much work, I mean, if that's as easy, then sure, do that. But otherwise, just disable the sorting.
If we were to apply it for the so I'm guessing the back end sort will not. Let me see if it does that. Okay,
so I guess the difference between this is only on where we're querying the database, but if I'm in my dictionary, so back a page, I'm going back to ENES concepts. There I have a fixed number. You know what's there. So when I sort, I'm sorting the entire amount at that time, right?
No.
No. So in this page right now, there's clearly you sort by name.
So if I sort by name,
white blood cells,
and then go to the next
bottom
page,
of this,
it will still not be sorted.
No, that's right. See, it is sorted.
So it is sorted. Yeah.
So this is doing what it needs to do, because this is the more likely place where I'm going to sort.
I don't think it's sorting the way that it's not doing a back-end sort. It's just sorting the contents that were returned in the table.
Yeah,
so,
correct.
But in this case, all the concepts are returned. When you're looking at your own dictionary, it's when you've got a large query where it's paging the query through the dictionary. Like, that's where it's not sorting the whole thing. But the place where I need a sort mostly is in the dictionary, which you've got the whole thing at the whole, you're sorting the entire thing. I'm rarely creating a bad search that's giving me hundreds of search results and then I'm sorting it.
I wonder if we should depend on the query bringing back all concepts for this page though. Right. So that's the current functionality. But I mean, long term, isn't it possible for us to have a personal dictionary with like, a few thousand concepts? I don't know if it will be feasible long term to keep.
Yes, that's correct. That as people use this more, their personal dictionaries might get very large, and they might also still you might not have all pages in memory or whatever.
Okay, so let me just ask something.
So I guess the thing. So does the backend search support sorting? I assume Jonathan can tell us actually.
It does by certain fields.
So it does yeah.
With these 4 columns: name, class, data type, and ID.
It's the sort options are, there's a best match, then there's last updated, and then there's name, and those are the only ones that are, and those could be descending or ascending order. Those are the ones that are supported now. It's not a hard thing to add if we wanted to prioritize some of these.
So
that seems. So go ahead.
No. I'm just going to go into to OCL and try it there.
Yeah. So I was going to say, then in that case, if the backend does not actually support all of these fields, then we should definitely disable sorting via the table headers and add in a sort by drop down that has the options. Sorry, that has the things you might, the ones that are supported. It's worth.
And this is this MVP or MVP plus?
I would
the ability. Oh, go ahead.
I would lean towards saying that disabling the sorting via the table headers could be MVP, and adding a sort by would be MVP plus. But I mean, if you push, I think they can both be MVP plus.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if we get time, we can actually do the sort by as well.
Yeah, because when you look in OCL, it's not a table structure, it's a list. And so the sort functions are just from a drop-down list. So there isn't even, you can filter based on the concept class or the data type, but you can't sort by them.
And sorry, what about when listing the concepts in a collection?
Yeah, that's what
is that sortable?
Yeah, just by the ones, because it's not a table. That's what I was referring to. It uses the same thing whether you're searching a source or you're searching your concepts in a collection. It's a list, it's not a table. So you don't have headers.
No, sorry, but it's a different REST endpoint to list the concepts in a collection versus to do the search. And I'm wondering and it's listing the concepts in a collection that's the important one for Andy, meaning it's like when you're looking at your own dictionary. So does that one support sorting?
It's the same functionality. It's just changes where it picks the concepts from.
Yeah, the UI is the same.
Oh, you're doing a search, not a list or something.
It gives you the list and then it allows you to search it. So
sorry, I'm just saying I was expecting that the REST endpoint on this page is being called from this page is different from the one that's being called on when you're trying to add a concept. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's a different endpoint, but the format of so like the behavior and the query parameters are all the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So so instead of it just being /collection /my collection /concept, it's just /c/concept. So it's the same. Yeah. Okay. So we've decided for MVP turn off sorting, and then MVP plus add sort by fields as a separate field up there. Ideally, if there's time, we could we also pursue this, adding the sort by.
If there's, I'd be happy to sort of go through the list of post MVP things and prioritize.
Right.
Like, what are the top few?
Okay.
It sounds like having sort on your own dictionary would be a high priority. So.
No, so I think we've agreed to
the ability. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, is the ability to preview the concepts in your dictionary? Is that something we're going to support too?
Yeah, that would be. We've put that as post MVP, but because right now you just have to click edit if it's one of your own, or view in OCL if it's an imported one.
Okay, is that fine, Pen, or do you want to add anything? Okay, cool. So where are we? Right. So you mentioned for concepts in your collection, we are leaving this as it is right now, right? So the default was this does what you expect. It sorts everything since everything has already been fetched as instead. So
yeah, I thought I just heard Darius say take it out here too, but I actually think
if it's working right, you're looking at page 1 and it goes to V. Is that because there's just very little on page 2 here?
Correct.
Yeah, I think the only time it wouldn't work is if maybe there's like 100,000 concepts or you're not actually getting them all. So the majority of times I think this would work. I agree that in the search results, when you're trying to add concepts, when you may have just literally thousands of results that aren't paged, all in, are being paged, that sorting might not make sense. But sorting here inside the dictionary itself, I think I would leave it.
Okay.
It's actually giving better functionality than OCL does.
Okay. So
I mean,
So, yeah.
and thinking about it, I would even actually say that should we make it post MVP even to disable the sorting from the table header? There are other. This doesn't feel like a release blocker to me, but what do you guys think, Andy and John?
So it's probably not, although it is possible that someone would do the sort, think that there's nothing on the next page, and not do the next page when the concept they were looking for was actually on the second page. So I think the disabling probably is an MVP.
Okay. All right. So disabling, leave it as MVP then. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. So the next was button styling feels weird. So we worked on that. He was.
Why is that? What is that an MVP?
Pardon?
Sorry, I'm wondering why that was an MVP fix.
This.
Yeah, it seems like this is a cosmetic.
Yeah, it is. It is, and
I wasn't even clear. What were some of the buttons that look weird? He said, like when you mouse over them, they became invisible or something.
Yeah, so they go flat and they flatten.
So, Dennis, can you see this? That.
Okay, so this is post the fix or pre-fix or before the fix?
So what I had done was just increasing the shadow just a bit so it didn't completely disappear. So that was like a one-liner, so that's why I'd marked it as MVP.
Okay. I mean, if you've already done it, that's fine. If you haven't yet, then don't bother. Like anything about styling.
And if it's done, it's done. If it's not done, if it ends up not being correct for Burke, then I don't want to end up fixing it again.
All right. Yep. Okay. Then next was adding a clear all for data types and classes. So he was talking about a scenario where you have, say, drag diagnosis, this, all marked. He's saying,
yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Someone should not have to.
I mean, maybe. I guess that's reasonable. Definitely not. That's not MVP.
Right, post MVP.
And I'm not sure that I've seen other, like, do most, I guess you could have a clear. We're both looking at some well-designed site that has this kind of thing, like kayak.com or whatever, Google Flights or something.
Well, I think they would typically have a header box on it that you could click and unclick if you wanted to click select all or unselect all. That's behavior.
So I guess it's fair, but anyway, post MVP.
So okay, so there was a bit of a downtime on Mondays where I guess this is why it's important for us to run through the post MVP tickets and pick out things that would be priorities, because that was also done already. Sorry, this is the before video. So I guess sorry.
What does it look like after now?
I think I might have mislabeled these videos. Sorry. Let me just share my screen. Just a moment. Okay, yeah. Can you guys see quick time? So this is what it looks like.
Yeah, that is way too emphasized.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think the standard pot, and it would be. Oh, I see. It's under. Yeah, and it wouldn't be at the bottom where I had to scroll all the way down to do it. So I think the best practice is at the top of the column to have a select all and unselect all option.
There's a well, the select all is the default behavior, right? So clear all actually means select all. I mean, clear data type filters, that button actually means select all.
Right. Well, that's interesting.
So, I mean, it should definitely be next
So
to the
reset,
heading.
clear, one of those.
Yeah, it could be the word reset or clear.
Yeah.
And it should just be less emphasized. It should be, if anything, even slightly gray, slightly de-emphasized versus the rest of it. Like a gray font color or something. And it should be next to the word data types and then next to the word classes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but so since it's already done, it can go in as well.
Yes.
Okay. Then, okay, so let me just note that down 1 second. Right, let me just share my screen again. Firefox. Okay, I hope you guys are on the wiki again. So next is just moving into Darius's feedback. So the first was removing the PIH option. The ticket is up. Let me just refresh that.
I mean, I'm assuming that I'm correct in that it's really only CL that's supported as the preferred dictionary. Because there's other screens that just got hard code that it's CL versus actually dynamically going based on what the preferred dictionary is configured as.
I think it would be safe to assume CL because there's areas in the code where that's actually hard coded.
But if someone was using the system, that's right, there's no way they could even select the concepts from PIH, right? So there's
yeah, unless you are adding mappings when searching the two concepts, right? So like at this point, when you are creating so just scroll to the bottom, right? So
but when you go to add an existing concept,
no, there's no option there.
It's only CL.
Yeah,
so that would be a pretty high priority to at least let them add, even if they can't make the other things their preferred dictionary, at least give them a way to search through the others with some extra clicks. So that's probably one of the top post MVP features.
So okay. Yeah, go on, Darius.
Go ahead.
So I guess this is a post MVP thing. I guess so like for example on demo how we have multiple internal sources here. I guess we should also have the option of selecting these on this screen, right?
You mean not on this screen, you mean beneath the button of add an existing concept?
So you I don't know. I don't know what you guys would prefer, but I'd feel like it would make more sense if it was like you could select a source from here than having a long drop down.
Right. So we can talk through the UX of it later. The idea is that the way it's supposed to be done is that some of the the way it's supposed to be.
Mic check. I'm Darius. I'm losing you. I'm not sure if it's mine or your connection.
Say again, Darius.
Yeah, Darius, I think we lost you.
Yeah, same here.
You have not lost me. Oh, I was talking on mute. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, Darius is back. And for you.
No.
He's not back. Sorry, Darius, we can't hear you. Cynthia, did you want to say something? On mute or off mute?
Okay, so should we go on in the meantime as he reconnects?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's get back here. Right, so we'll continue discussing this. Then, so start by copying another dictionary. I wonder if this was due to us not importing concepts which are like two concepts in the mappings. So I don't know if this should be pushed to MVP plus.
Well, so can we actually do a formal QA on this? And it seems to me that, you know, the before and after of the copy should be identical. If that's not working, then this is as an MVP, because the disabling should be an MVP, because if people think they've got in there and they don't, it's going to be very hard for them to know what's not there.
That's correct.
And these numbers, you can't use the numbers on that screen because I'm not sure that they're always accurate.
So that's the other thing Darius pointed out. There was a case issue, small d, small p, but that ticket is also up.
Oh, so that's just on the class thing, but the total is correct?
Yeah, this total is correct. Yeah, so this total is right.
So if you, right now, if you create a new one off of this one.
Of the NES.
Start with 20, right? Why is the owner null on that?
So for some reason, when we're creating the admin this time, he belongs to multiple. So like he belongs to one organization. So I guess the default there was to let them select this.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely not working.
Okay, correct.
It's probably just that it wasn't done processing, do you think?
Oh, yeah, that could be this problem. Yeah. Well,
I want to refresh.
just reload that.
No, that's not it.
Oh, maybe not.
So I suspect, let's just browse in OCL a bit. I suspect the problem might be this. It's not adding the mappings and the concepts to those mappings.
It also says 0 active concepts on the front screen too.
Pardon?
It says 0 active concepts on the front screen too.
Or
It's definitely worth doing some more thorough.
or it might just not be doing the paging. Could be the paging too. Like it's not. It only requests the first 10 and doesn't continue. It's possible.
Regardless, it needs to be turned off for MVP.
Okay, cool. So that stays as it is. So that's turning off.
Yep. So yeah, basically turn it off for MVP and then make sure there's a tip for re-enabling it and fixing it.
Cool.
As post.
Right. Darius?
MVP. Yep.
Yeah. So let's just jump back to this for a second. So this is MVP. This is MVP. So like removing PIH is MVP, but adding multiple sources is MVP plus, correct?
Yeah. So the the behavior that we want to support, the important behavior is that people can pick either a preferred source that's different from CL or multiple preferred sources in order, in order.
Mm-hmm.
Like first they prefer PIH custom followed by CL.
Mm.
So that's the key thing we will want to support. And then what falls out of that is when you're like adding an existing concept, it either we need to make the search automatically search all of your preferred sources, or else maybe the button for add an existing concept then shows you CL and PIH. That would be the important thing. Still,
Okay.
less important, still valuable though, is letting people add something from an arbitrary dictionary that's not one of their preferred ones, but that's less important than supporting more than one preferred one.
Yeah, which is MVP plus, just to be clear.
Yeah. All that is MVP plus. I would say I would prioritize multiple preferred dictionaries over adding from arbitrary dictionary. Although actually, come to think of it, I might change my mind about that prioritization because one of them is easier and the other one is quick.
Okay, all right. So let's see, clear all it's done, that is done. The class breakdown. So this, you are right, Darius, it was just to do with a case. But I just wanted to check with you guys. This is so like we expect to only have diagnosis and procedure classes here, like in the summary, not all.
Not really. I had actually just kind of done this offhand in a quick mock-up, like a long time ago. I don't know, Andy, are there particular classes you would want to call out here?
You know, I had this, I think we had this discussion when we first broke these things down. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it makes that much difference. I think, you know, having them broken down by the class is useful, I guess, if you're trying to, especially doing QA, to sort of know what's changed, or do I have all the same things I have somewhere else? But to me, I don't, you know, I don't know what the final thing should be, but maybe we get some feedback.
Right. So I guess since there are no strong opinions at this time on this, I guess it can stay this way.
Yeah, I mean, in practice, yeah, like diagnosis probably does belong. Procedure probably doesn't. Drug probably does. But basically, just as long as you make it work, leave it as is, and we can get feedback later.
Okay, cool. The next was, so I'm trying to create a concept with two names, type synonym. So I mentioned this on talk. I don't think you got a chance to look at it. So okay, so let me just jump to Postman here, just a second. Yeah. So when I try to, so this is get, when I try to create concepts with the names which are in the current UI, so that is that's names like synonym, like just a second, let me just get the names. Right, so synonym and such term, so like they both failed. When I was looking through the seal concept.
Sorry, I can't see what you're. Let me zoom in.
I'm on Postman now. Can you guys see that? Is that fine?
I see that you're in Postman. It's just like go slowly and say exactly what you're showing.
Mm-hmm. So I'm just focusing on these names, right? So for things like synonym, just search for that synonym. It was called designated synonym. I don't know if these are different name types or if this is the correct name that it should have.
John, do you know how that works?
Could you say it again? Sorry.
So in that so like currently in the front end when we are creating a synonym, we just give it like the name type of synonym. But that doesn't work. But looking through the CL concepts, I find that the name types are actually called designated synonym. So I'm wondering if that is the correct name that it should have, or if synonym should be a different name on its own.
What are the name types?
Pardon?
Well, it's not a restricted field, so you could actually put anything. But there is a lookup table. Let's see what it is.
Yeah, actually, I think OpenMRS validation does restrict it.
Correct. Yeah.
So maybe we need to look in the code for the OpenMRS validator.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I found that it does restrict but it also allows it to be null. So yeah.
And what does it restrict to?
So I do not know like the exact list of like valid fields. What I do know is like from the concepts that exist, these are what are allowed. So
looks like
so I do not know if someone could just throw in a link or something to so like is that validator code on the back end, or is it somewhere else, like some documentation somewhere?
I don't know if it's documented anywhere. I am trying to look in the backend code, but actually I'm not super familiar with it. So no, I only found tests. I see.
Like check. So yeah, so we need a way forward on this. I wonder who.
Yeah, sorry. I think I will have an answer for you in the next 5 minutes by reading the code,
Okay.
which I'm looking at in another window.
Right.
I see we're past the end of the hour, so I can stay a little longer, but if other people are going to need to run, maybe like Cynthia, or is there anything anyone else needs to cover quickly?
The only ones supported that are in the table with OCL is none, fully specified, and short.
So that is fully specified, none fully specified. Is up to with a dash here? Oh, sorry, you're not seeing my subline.
In terms of, we'd have to look at the code for the OpenMRS validation scheme to be sure how that one works.
Oh, all right. Okay, so let's wait for Darius on that. So let's just jump back to Firefox. Oh, so as Darius said, we are past an hour. If anyone has anything pressing to say, we could probably first go into that now, and then those who can stay would probably have to continue because there's a bit more we need to look into.
So it looks like the things that are supported is fully specified, short, and blank.
So like blank with like BLAC.
No, sorry, I meant like null.
Null. Okay. You said fully specified. What was the second one?
Short. And John, I don't know where the name, like the reference values come from in
There's a bunch of sources underneath the OCL organization, and so those sources are what populate the lookup tables for any of the dropdowns. So there's one that's just called name types and description types. There's classes, concept classes, data types, all that stuff's there.
Okay, so I think it may be that. So here's what we need to do. So actually, what are the options available under type right now for name type in the UI?
Okay, so
For name. Oh, go ahead.
no, go on.
Well, I was gonna say in the lookup table.
So I see a drop down, but the way the screen is looking, it doesn't line up with. So I'm confused what you're. Oh, that's for the app, of course.
Yeah, I'm just running through that name types collection. These are the, so are these the valid? So is this what it uses validate?
Those are not the name types.
Sorry. These are map types. I'm sorry. So how would we? Let me just hit the endpoint for name types.
But click on the drop down for name type right now. So actually, whoops, we've missed an option which is short. Short is supposed to be something we offer here.
So we should have short. That's with a capital S, right?
Yes, although on the back end it's all caps short.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
just dropped the.
Oh, maybe. Actually, I don't know if it's. Oh, I don't know if it's all caps or not. Anyway, capital short. And then index term, we want to support. People don't. Almost nobody uses those in OpenMRS right now, but they are theoretically supposed to be supported. So I don't know, John. Is that something we can easily add on your end?
Is what easy to add?
Sorry, index term.
Option.
Yeah, index term as a concept name type.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could easily add more to this table. So whatever.
Yeah. So can you guys?
Index term designated synonym. Yeah. So you could let me know which ones to add, and we'll take care of that right away.
I think what might be. So can you guys create a ticket like for John in OCL, like in GitHub, a GitHub issue asking to add index term?
That is index term with us. Like he'll know it, right?
I hope he will know it, but he should ask Andy or something. Like I don't know offhand exactly how it should be written and capitalized.
Okay. So.
And then the other thing is oh, sorry, go ahead. So the other thing is for synonyms, actually use the type of none. So where our UI calls it a synonym, that's just name type is none.
Okay, so that would be the null, right?
Yeah, that NONE none option.
Okay. Wait, no. Sorry, just what? So, are you saying we should add a none type, or synonym will just be the null?
Yeah, so I'm saying three things. One of them is that synonym, as we currently have it in our UI, that should actually map to the value of none.
Okay.
So the label should still be synonym, but the value should be none.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we need to add a short.
And then index term.
As one of our drop-down options, and that's already supported by the backend.
Yeah.
And we need to ask the backend to support index term.
Okay. All right. So I've noted all that down. We'll be doing that. Let's see.
Hi, gentlemen. Sorry,
Yes,
this is Cynthia. I need to drop off and join another call. Whatever it is, I'll follow up in the morning with next steps. So I'm dropping off. Thank you.
All right.
Do you have any questions for me or comments?
I guess the question would be for both you and Payne. I don't know what the progress is on the the issue for like creating external mappings.
You don't know what? Please repeat that.
What the progress is on the issue for creating external mappings.
Oh, I see. Okay. Maybe if Jonathan can respond to that, and then yeah, I can respond as well.
Okay, which is the one that you need me to respond to?
External mappings. I think he was asking about external mappings.
Sure.
Can you rephrase the question, Lincoln?
Okay, so let me just jump to the issue on GitHub.
There is an issue that I shared with you at some time ago, maybe a week ago.
This,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for that one, I just needed Rafal to take a look at that. So I've flagged it for him as a top priority, and he hasn't gotten to it yet. So apologies for that, but I wasn't able to fix that one myself.
Okay, so I'll just drop you a reminder email probably tomorrow because I have calls until 8 p.m. this evening, so I don't think I'll get to it. But yeah, I'll just drop you a reminder email and then I'll follow up in the morning. But nonetheless, thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate your effort, and I'll send you an email in the morning. Thanks.
cool, thank you. Okay, so that is done. That is done. That is done. That is done. This I hadn't quite looked into this because it was MVP plus. I wonder if Dan had any questions on it. Mic check, Dan. I think we might have lost Dan. I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to add on this particularly, Darius?
Sorry, I was muted.
No, I mean, I can clarify if you need, but basically the way we just the backend displays it in a way that's a little bit wonky. Like it has this field public access, which is a little bit confusing, and so we basically prefer to display it another way, like reformat it as public or private.
All right. I'll look into that, and if I have any questions, we'll forward them to you.
Yeah. Basically, you can reverse engineer it from looking at how the drop-down works when you're creating one.
Okay. So should we also run? Let me see. Should we run through all the MVP plus tickets now, or can we go on to like listing MVP tickets that were marked as MVP plus, but that might be a priority? So like basically,
you mean in terms of prioritizing them?
Correct. Yeah. So should we?
So are you in the situation where you basically you're done with all the MVP stuff at this point?
No, not yet, but I see that happening by the end of this week. So like by end of Friday, that might be the situation. Yes.
Okay, so can you let's see, is there a list of all the MVP plus tickets? In theory, that should be in Jira, right?
They are. Yeah, let me just jump to that page. Which page am I on? It's the one. These two are not labeled, unfortunately. It's 3.
So in theory, one should be able to list them based on their fixed version, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So here we are. So this.
So how many are there here listed? There are 21 issues.
Pardon?
There are 21 issues.
Yes, 21.
So, I mean, it's kind of hard. Let's see. I probably want to be driving the screen for doing this.
Can I let you share a screen or share a screen?
Well, no, because I'm dialed in through my phone.
Sorry.
Let's see. But I do have my laptop here. So I should search for project equals OCL or OCL. Actually, let me see if I can do the query first. Project is OCL OMRS, and fixed version is 1.1.0.
Yeah, just through that link in case you're ready.
Okay, so I see those 21. So how to let's see.
Okay, so Darius, I guess it's not very important that you do this like on the call. I guess you could like do this later and then just add a tag to those you think would be. Would that be fine?
Right, I'm just saying it's unlikely that I'll get to this before the end of the week. So I was wondering if I could find one or two things.
No problem.
So like 549 seems important.
549.
540. I mean, it's like it seems uncomplicated and worth doing. 540 also.
So 549.
So either label it or set a priority or something. Yeah. There we go.
So I had okay. So let me just. I'm going to do that because I had used that clip already. So 549 and 540. You say 548?
540 and 549.
540.
Let's see.
No, this was done. This was done. Set concept. This was done.
What about 415 or 415 and 471? I guess I'm looking at them sorted in by reverse order of creation or something right now.
You said 415?
Yeah. Is that done yet or?
415. Modify preview of concept members. Yeah, this is done as well. I think I'd actually gone through this last week and added a label of done. I think I need to confirm. Yeah, this was done as well. So I'll be moving this to completed.
Okay. There 471 also is probably fixed, but if it's not, I would prioritize doing something about it. If it's not fixed, I would prioritize giving feedback to John about why it wasn't fixed or something.
Okay, so I'm just going to put down I'll test that and then update that accordingly. Okay.
Okay. Editing What is 480?
80. Then
Oh, I see.
480. 480.
Sorry, I was looking. I said 481, but I see. It's marked as waiting for information. I understand now. Okay, so skip that. Forget that one.
In the meantime, I saw the small question for Jonathan. We were wondering how possible it is to have so for huge tickets, or like tickets that have like that have a sort of big impact, it would be helpful for us to sort of like pre-test the changes that someone has made. So we're wondering how possible it is to have deploys on each PR that was raised.
You mean basically, since you are the requester, since you're the reporter of the issue, you would like to sign off on it before it gets marked as fixed on the back end?
Correct. Yeah. No, not on the back end part. Like for us, like the front end. Yeah, like before it gets merged, and then we have to come next week and then debug it and find it's messed up, something like that. Yeah. Or for that team to do testing as well.
I guess, I don't know. Don can answer about what their process is. I think it's very asynchronous on their side, and they've got very limited time, so I don't know if he's going to want to change anything, but maybe the thing to do is just to make sure that the issue as captured in their GitHub issue is as detailed as possible, like give specific acceptance criteria or something.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm actually referring to like on our end, not on your end. Like if something is fixed on the OCL client, like so like for example, I don't know how I can just jump to.
Yeah. So this is
So something like this.
Well, okay.
Something of this sort, so that like if someone requests to make changes, you can like view what the changes they've made before they get merged.
Well, I know the issue related to the reference updating is one that Rafals did start to work on, and it turns out some of the other tickets were blockers for it. So he so we're planning to do it. I think it's probably not exactly what you're wanting though. So I think it would actually, I think we just need a new ticket to say for linked. So like when we're using a dictionary that there's a linked source, that we want to enable automatic updating of the reference, because that's a separate feature than what we're building, which is a way to automatically say, show me all of the references that are out of date, and then give me the option to update them. If that makes sense. So they're related functions, but they're different.
Sorry, but I feel like I didn't ask the question properly, Payne. Sorry. Okay, so let me try this one more time. Okay, so like what you've addressed is a different sort of running ticket. That's something that needs discussing. But I was actually referring to just like a deployment. On like if someone like raises a pull request to merge into the repository. Like my question is, how possible would it be? So like how we have a QA deploy, deployment and a demo deployment. How possible would it be to have a separate deployment for that only?
Sorry, for whose PRs to where?
To the OCL client.
Sorry, an additional. Oh, so you want to like basically, effectively, like for every PR. Or
Yes.
no, sorry, I didn't quite understand.
Yes,
You want to be able to test a PR. I see.
Okay. So I mean, what we plan to do is just like temporarily use Heroku. Like just for during this rush period, so that we can just like our PR is raised, we just do like a small PR up. We test if that's okay, and then it gets merged. But like Daniel had mentioned that it might be possible to do that using the tools we already have. So I was just wondering how difficult or hard that would be.
So I think what you're saying is that you would like to have an independent environment for testing every PR.
Correct.
And that stays up until the PR gets merged.
Yes.
I mean, it seems I don't know the answer to that. That's kind of an infrastructure question, whether it's possible or not. I feel like I feel like the answer to that is it's not possible. I mean, we don't really have self-service creation of things without Cynthia and the infrastructure team being involved.
Okay.
And at least my experience is it's not that fast.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. But just doing, so who are you intending to do that testing? Like, isn't this, if someone does a PR, they can also run it in their local environment, right?
Yes, but if I do a PR and then my teammate wants to test it, they would have to pull or like you or Kanta wants to test the functionality before it's merged. Like you'd have to pull the changes and then run it on your machine.
I see.
Yeah, so like it's just as a convenience thing, not
Yeah, I don't think we have a solution for that in the OpenMRS's infrastructure side.
Okay. Okay. Was there any other ticket that you had landed on?
All right. So I think the the highest value one is probably the one about viewing concept. I feel like there are probably more things than these tickets that I'm seeing. Maybe not all of them have been tagged with the fixed version.
Okay.
But there's a ticket about view. View is everywhere on this page. Yeah, 539. I see. So yeah, like post MVP, right? There should be a view button for all concepts in your dictionary, whether they are custom or from CL, and it should just display everything about them.
Okay.
Right, without having to link out to the traditional OCL UI, and also without having to use the edit.
Okay.
And that one sounds like it would take a bit of time.
Okay, so I guess that's it for now. Unless there's anything else.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. Unless there's anything else, I guess that's it. We can end the call here.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Glad to see a lot of progress. And we're getting close.
Okay.
Okay. Catch you guys next week.
Right.
Actually, sorry, I just realized I'm going to be out next week on Wednesday. I could do Friday next week, or else we skip a week, or else you can meet with Andy, or presumably with Andy. So maybe we follow up on talk about that.
Okay, I will. I'll post that.
All right, thanks again. Bye.